Hi guys, it's me Shamila here, and in this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys my refine predictions for the 6.6 update of Fire Emblem Heroes. Now lately, there has been a fake channel out, and you're probably wondering, where's my reaction video? Well, I have not done it on my channel. Instead, you gotta watch Prudy's channel, or this Prudy's latest video. I basically reacted to it with her, and I was honored to be there with her, so thank you, Prudy, again for letting me be on there. But this video, on the other hand, it's gonna be my refine predictions. So as you guys know, 5 new units are gonna get a new refine. That being Picnic Flora, Fallen Berkut, Naesala, Renolf, and Valoria. Funny enough, 3 of them are beasts. It's funny. But yeah, all of these units are gonna get a new refine because, you know, they're obviously outdated, and this video is basically just showing off my predictions for them. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. First unit is going to be Flora, Signature Dish, or in other words, Picnic Flora. Her personal weapon, Serimnir, originally had effect against beasts and attack +3, and at start of combat, if her res was higher than foe's res, she would reduce foe's attack defense by 50% of the difference between stats. The calculation is made before combat, and the maximum penalty is -8. Additionally, it has the Dagger 7 effect. So all in all, it was actually an alright weapon. This was one of the few weapons that actually had effect against beasts. Or at least this was one of the first ever weapons to have effect against beasts, alongside with Picnic Felicia, obviously. But this is another one of those weapons that have that same effect. Having the attack defense penalty based on the res difference is pretty strong, but the problem is that you need 60 more res to effectively be inflicting -8 maximum. So it wasn't that great, obviously, but it still had its uses. Now with this new refine that I've predicted for her, now the difference will be calculated based on 80% of the difference between stats, meaning that instead of 16 more res, you only need 10 more res to inflict the full -8, and additionally, at start of combat, if her HP is 25% higher, she gets attack +5 during combat, and foe gets attack -5 during combat. And all in all, it's actually pretty strong now. Having an effective 13 attack defense res, or effectively gaining attack defense res +13 for simply just having 25% HP or more and having 10 more res than the foe before combat is really strong for a base effect. However, for her refine, if she initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, she gets attack +5 during combat, she will inflict attack -5 on foe during combat, she will deal damage equal to 20% of her own res, and then she will also reduce damage from foes' attacks by 20% of the unit's res. Basically, with her base res being 38, if we were to take that into account, she would deal +7 damage and also reduce damage by 7 from foe's attacks. That's just the base res. Considering that nothing else is giving her res except for her ARD attack res 3, which will grant her at most +10 res, this would only push her up to 48 res, which would be 9 extra damage and 9 damage reduction. So obviously this refine is not the strongest thing in the world, however it could go a long way considering that the amount of res buffing skills that exist. Now, if you're probably wondering why did I not interpret res into the refine, is because considering that this is already a very strong effect, gaining 10 more attack and inflicting 10 attack on the foe, I think you don't really need more res for the fact that it doesn't matter. This effectively would give more than the attack itself, or at least this would give more than the res check. So yeah, that's what I'm basically saying. Second unit is going to be Fallen Berkut, or Berkut, a Purgatorial Prince, with his Creamhild, which originally was very strange, but it was alright. Which originally is that 60 might range 1, but if a bow, dagger, magic, or staff foe initiates combat whilst Berkut is within 2 spaces of an ally, he can counterattack regardless of foe's range, and the foe cannot make a full attack. But after combat, if he did attack, he will deal 20 damage to the near ally or nearest allies if they're in the same position. Which, this was not a very bad weapon, honestly. It was actually really, really strong. However, the problem is that it would deal too much damage to allies, and obviously I don't think they're going to change that, which is why with this refine is that if I if he is within 3 spaces of an ally, he gets attack +5 during combat, he inflicts attack -5 on foe during combat, the foe cannot make a follow tap, and he can counterattack regardless of foe's range. But after combat, he will deal 20 damage to the nearest ally if he attacks, which is obviously the same thing as his base effect, except it now is not weapon restricted, which is originally it was only ranged foes, but that would also make sense considering that Cream would reduce damage from ranged foes. However, in most cases, it's better to just buff a weapon that just needs the buff in general rather than just giving it so that it's related to its story. But I can definitely see what they could be doing with that, and they could just keep that the way it is. However, they would definitely need to make the weapon more useful against all foes, considering that it was only good against ranged foes, whilst melee foes could just have no problem. However, for her refine now, if foe initiates combat or if foe that beats 75% or higher, he inflicts another attack -5 on foe, and he gets another attack +5 during combat. And also, the following effects will happen based on the number of allies within 3 spaces. And if there's at least one ally within 3 spaces of him, he can make a guaranteed follow-up attack. But if there's 3 or more, he will also reduce damage from attacks during combat and from air effect specials by 30%. Now, obviously, this is kind of a reference to his damage reduction in the original game, but honestly, it's also considering the fact that it would just be really strong against anything. Having all 3 allies nearby would effectively give you a guaranteed follow-up attack, 30% damage reduction, attack +10, and attack -10 on foe. Foe cannot make follow-up attack, and also DC. But the only penalty to that is that it will deal 20 damage to the nearest ally. Which, although it would be a really it's a bad punishment to have your allies nearby. However, considering that how I think they're not going to change his mechanic for the damage, it would only make sense for them to just buff it instead of just completely changing it up. Up next, we have Naesala Sky Shadow with his Raven King Beak, which originally granted speed +3, and if his speed was higher than foe's speed, he will deal damage equal to 70% of the difference between those stats, a +7 damage maximum. Basically saying that if he had 10 more speed than the foe, he will deal +7 damage, which is obviously really strong, and used to be really strong back in the day. And then also, if he transforms, he gets to move an extra space and get +2 attack. Now, I didn't change that for this refine because they didn't change that for the other units. However, for now, the new refine will be if he initiates combat or is not adjacent to an ally, he gets attack speed +5 during combat, and he will deal damage equal to 15% of his own speed. With his speed being 41, he would get +5 speed, which would be a total of 46 speed, which will deal 6 damage. But with the Swift Sparrow 2, it will deal 7 damage. But now for his refine, at the start of combat, if his HP is 25% or higher, he gets attack speed +5 during combat, and also if he is transformed or if his speed is higher than foe speed, he will neutralize his effects that prevent his follow-up attacks, and foe cannot counterattack. Now obviously the 5 extra speed will push his speed to 55, which will deal 8 damage. And then additionally, if he's transformed, or if he just has more speed than the foe, he gets partial no follow-up, which will prevent anything that would just say foe cannot make a follow-up attack. It will just cancel all these effects on him, and then also foe cannot counterattack. Basically saying that this is like wind sweep and water sweep and no follow-up basically. That's what this whole refine is. It's really, really strong. It would make Naesala really good. Considering that his defensive res is not the greatest in the world, he kind of needs to be offensive, only offensive, rather than just being defensive. So yeah, that's the whole point with Naesala, obviously. But it would just be the best thing for him, and I can honestly see that happening for him, considering that beasts cannot actually have no follow-up in any way. Because if you're thinking about the flow skills, they can't be applied to beasts. Next, we have Renolf, Friend of Nations, with its covert Catfang, which originally granted defense 3, and if he wasn't within 2 spaces of an ally, he gets attack defense +3, and will also grant attack defense +3 to his allies within 2 spaces. And then obviously the beast transformation for a Cav where he gets +2 attack, and if he initiates combat, he will inflict attack defense -4 on foe, and the foe cannot make a follow-up attack. Basically saying that this is an impact effect, which is really strong, obviously, for a Cav, because considering that cavalry units cannot have impact, beasts can, because, you know, that's just how it works, and obviously they need to be transformed. Now for his new effect, he will obviously gain +3 defense like his original thing, but he will also grant attack speed defense +4 to allies within 3 spaces during combat, and if he is within 3 spaces of an ally, he gets attack speed defense +4 during combat. Now obviously this is actually a big upgrade from attack defense +3 to attack speed defense +4, and now being 3 spaces instead of 2. Now, obviously, this might not happen considering that, you know, we've never had a drive effect be that far, but I could honestly see them doing it for just Ranulf, considering that his whole mechanic is basically a drive unit, or a joint drive effect unit, but also considering the fact that he kind of needs this, because he's kind of set to a point where he really just needs to be good for it, because, obviously, as you know, beasts need to be alone or only next to dragons or beasts to transform. Considering that you're probably not going to have a team that does have only that, you got to make full advantage of it and just forget about the transformation and just go for the whole point of it, where he was just support. And that's also what I did for his Refine, which will inflict speed defense -X on foes within 3 spaces during combat, which is 2, which X is actually 2 times the number of allies within 3 spaces, max -6. Basically saying that this is like a reference, well, not really a reference, but this is basically what Bridal Tharja had for her Refine, which was the same thing, except it was a speed res. But this is speed defense, but also additionally, if he's within 3 spaces of an ally, he gets attack speed +5 during combat. Basically saying that if there's three allies within, or three allies within 3 spaces of him, he will gain effective +15 attack and speed and 4 defense. The 4 defense is not that important because his defense is not the greatest thing. I mean, it's alright, 36 defense is alright, which will bring him up to 40. However, considering that he doesn't really need the defense in most cases, definitely he doesn't need the res. So yeah, it would only make sense. And the whole effect for his for being more allies within 3 spaces, it's really just a reference to him just being close to his allies. Because if you're really gonna go far with the idea of it needing to be ally based, well, there you go. That's my prediction for it. Obviously, I don't think they're gonna do this. They're obviously gonna do something better because Ranulf needs this a lot. I just couldn't think of a lot of things considering that, you know, Intelligent Systems really goes hard about thinking about these refines because they're really unique all the time. And I'm not that unique, however, I always try to be close to it. And the final unit is Valoria Wolf Cub with his Wolf Pup Fang, which grants a speed +3, and at start of turn 1, she will grant special cooldown count -2 to herself and her own support partner if she has it, which obviously was pretty strong at the time. We'd never had a unit that just flat out gives your support partner -2 cooldown, let alone 1. So yeah, this was really just a very strong unit from the very start. Considering that specials are so important in this game because there's so many good ones, and yeah, you guys get my point. It just really was needed. But now with her Refine, or with her new base effect, I additionally added if she's within, or if her HP is 25% or higher, she will get attack speed defense res during +4 during combat. And then obviously I changed her beast transformation to the latest version, or the more recent version, that being that if she transforms, gets +2 attack, deal +7 damage to special triggers, and also gets the tempo effect, which will nullify guard or special cooldown charges in any way. But now, for a Refine, if she initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, she gets attack speed defense +4 during combat, and also if her own special triggers before or during combat, she will grant herself -1 special cooling count after combat, which obviously is special spiral 2. If she initiates combat or is within 2 spaces. Now, obviously, it's not the strongest thing in the world, but I can definitely see them doing this, considering that, you know, Valoria is definitely the kind of unit that needs this. considering that her whole point is specials, she would kind of need to special loop in a way. But that's not it, because not only is she, with her base effect, she's obviously giving herself -2 cooldown, but if her support partner is there, she will also do that the same thing. And that's what I did with the Refine, where if her own support partner is within 2 spaces of her, and her support partner's special triggers before or during combat, she will grant special cooling count -1 to that ally after combat. Now, obviously, this go a lot of ways. Basically, giving your support partner special spiral 2 if they're within 2 spaces of you is really strong, and there's a lot of units that could actually make use of this. The one unit being Brave Marth, considering that he had his weapon Genesis Falchion, allows him to gain advantage if all of his allies has a ton of bonuses. And considering that he doesn't have a single way to gain special cooldown count and still maintain the dodge effect, this could help out. He could still keep his spurn and then also gain special spiral effect if Valoria is nearby and support it. So this Refine would make Valoria very unique and strong even. Even though the Refine is very plain, you gotta realize small could mean a lot. A very small difference could make a huge problem. That being this special spiral, considering that if you have 3 Valorias and your support partner is nearby, it can be -3 cooldown after combat. So it's just special spiral 4 at that point for your support partner. So yeah, it would just really be strong. So, and I kind of hope they do something like this, because this would make Valoria really stand out and also be a lot better, you know. But that's gonna be it for this video, and I hope you guys like my Refine predictions, because I generally am interested to see what Intelligent System does for them, and I just want to see if I have the right mindset for, or I have the same mindset of them, because, you know, it's always cool to see that you're right about something in life. So it's just generally fun to do. Also, yeah, but also the fact that making these things is really fun and everything. If you guys want to see my Refine predictions before they actually come out on YouTube, you can always check my Reddit in the description. I will leave a link down there so you can see the posts that I originally had. But without that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and make sure to watch Prudy's video if you want to see my reaction to the Faye channel. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye!